4-2. What happens if he hits? If a zombie, which this is, we say pull that down to the player and straight up. Why didn't you do it?
G'day all, JP, Top Deck Commander, back once again. As promised this time, we're a month late, sorry about that. Chad is here with his Urtet Remnant of Memnarch deck. Chad.
G'day everyone, pleasure to be here. Been playing cards, Magic the Gathering since mid-90s I guess, revised in the dark with the sets to buy at the time. Been playing a lot of Chaos, got a lot of cards, and Commander's been the format for the last 5 years or so. It's been good fun.
So what did you like about the change from Chaos to Commander?
It actually took me a while to get on board with it, but I really enjoy being able to construct a 100-card deck now. It evens out the playing field, and have one card that works with a commander, that synergy. I really enjoy trying to construct something like that. So
yeah, Chad does make good decks. And what do you look for in a commander? So for me, I play commanders that are I try to make them benign. I don't want people to be targeting my commanders. Some of them are just card draw. Whereas Chad likes in-your-face commanders. He likes leading with his chin. So why? What's that about?
I don't know. I guess just commanders that complement cards that I already have that I might see a unique use for. The synergy, obviously the tribal component is still there to be able to play things, hence with the mirror. But yeah, just different combinations or tricky things that you can think of that go, this will complement that well. And I really do enjoy the construction of it.
All right. Now, what's the attraction with Urtet? Ranked 52nd on EdRec, about 10,000 decks. Puts it well up in the top 5% probably of all decks.
I've always enjoyed artifacts, even just running artifact decks with lots of different artifacts that do different things, just weird things. I always had a soft spot for like Mir and Slivers, and so when the opportunity came along for a Mir commander, I couldn't resist putting something together to run a full 5-colour Mir deck. So
the Mirs here were actually one of your older decks then?
An old Chaos deck that I just grabbed everything from and obviously pumped a few more things into, so yeah.
All right. Oh, cool. All right, so without any further ado, let's just get into it. So Chad's got a couple of mana fixes there, Cryptolith Rite, Prismatic Omen, plus the Chromatic Lantern. Also got the land, the World Tree. This is all just about fixing the mana. I will point out here that you don't actually run any fetch lands.
No, I don't. I think I've got 35, 36 lands in here. I run, all but 2 of the old dual lands. I run all 5 of the vivid lands, all the artifact lands, and like Reflecting Pool and Exotic Orchid. Just a couple of lands that allow me to produce extra mana as well, of all colours. I find that with the mirror that I've got, and the lands that I've got, I'm able to produce those 5 colours. And for me, it's all about just hitting those 5 colours to be able to start the engine on Urtet. So
Right. Yeah, I found that very interesting that you are doing a 5-colour deck, yet still, because I've played against this deck and he hits the 5 colours quite well. You've never run out of charge counters on the Vivids, or your mana's okay by the time you do?
I might have occasionally, but then with the fallback with the Chromatic Lantern and the Prismatic Omen and whatever, I'm still able to cover that 5-colour Wurberg mana base. So
yeah. Also got an Ethereum Sculptor, artifact spells, one less
just
to
to
cast.
reduce it by that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, they're worth their weight in gold, aren't they? One extra land taps for 1, but that makes any number of spells on each turn cheaper.
Yep.
And a random Ornithopter. What's with that? We're running out of Mirs.
No, well, I've got the Alloy Mirror, but it's just another artifact that can add 1 mana of any color. Look, that's probably one of the first things that might pop out for something new that complements this deck. So, a flying blocker if needed.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? There's not a lot of flyers in this deck. Also, it's got Urza's Workshop, the 3 Tron lands. No way to tutor them out.
No. Once I'm just a fan of the old Tron lands. Always was in old artifact decks I've built. I put them in because I was always trying to get the sets in there and generate big things. For me, it's just the original ones from back in the antiquities or whatever it was. I think. Yeah. Look, I once again with the chromatic lantern or the world tree or a few other things, I can then use them for tapping for coloured mana as I choose, sort of thing. And like I said, it's just about generating the engine of Urtet. I'm quite happy to take a bit of damage. Life's just a resource for me to be able to get that engine going. So
end of the day, it doesn't really matter what colour your lands are because you're casting colourless spells.
Correct.
You only need you only need the Wooburg to activate Urtet to start buffing them.
Yes, yeah. As long as I can cast things and among the creatures that will then untap and the lands I have available, leave things available when I get to untap all those creatures to then produce the Wooburg for Urtet. As long as I'm leaving that's what I'm looking to do.
Cool. Yeah, Urtet's very good like that, isn't he? You'll tap your Mir for mana and then untap and come for combat.
Yeah, at the beginning of combat to untap. So
all right. Awesome. All right, let's get on to draw. 10 cards in the draw package. Realm Walker and Mystic Forge. I just let him cast artifacts off the top. 6 that actually do draw. Kindred Discovery. Quite honestly, if you're playing any tribal deck, you must have that in there.
That's got blue in there. That's a must-have. Yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely.
So, most definitely.
Padim, Consul of Innovation.
Padim's nice for the fact that it might draw me a card if I've got a large artifact there, but it's just that bit of hexproof as well. It's a nice little deterrent. Tezzeret and Tamiyao's logbook. I'm just looking to get some cheap casting, and I'm looking to draw through this deck as quick as possible from the outset. Like I said, to initially get my Wooburg, my 5 colors going to generate Urtet, and then to continue to draw cards to get an unwinding clock. Get just something might pop up in gameplay, and I go, oh, I've got an answer for that, or that will hold that off. I'm looking to do that. So and Sai the Master Thopterus, whilst he's producing Thopters, I don't have a lot of flyers in here, if any, I think. So it's good to have them just as the sacrificial blocker for things in the air and on the ground. And, look, if I've got the mana left over, I'll draw some more cards.
The last one being the Shimmer Dragon, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, once again, just, tap a few artifacts, draw some cards before my turn, and a decent-sized flyer as well. So
that's the 6 draw cards. The next 4, although they're in the draw package, are all tutors. Mir Kinsmith, Fabricate, Kuldotha, Forge Master, and Mir Turbine. So what is the first card they would be looking for?
Oh, without a doubt, they'd be looking for the Darksteel Forge. I'm always looking to try and get that out. Whilst it costs a lot, if I can get it out with the Forge Master, and put it straight on the battlefield, that's what I'm looking to do. So that's the main key for this as well for defense wise. So
yeah, it's a lock once that's out. It's very hard to crack open.
Yep.
Very few cards exile artifacts. As such, plenty that exile creatures, but unfortunately Darksteel Forge isn't. Right. Well, let's say you've got the Darksteel Forge out. What'd be the next card you're looking to get out? Are you now looking at win cons?
Yeah, I am. I'm probably looking for things that will buff my Mir a bit more, or do something funky. Like I said, it'll be dependent of maybe what's on the board. I'm looking for something to stave someone off, or to go for something that's just going to be able to allow me to keep untapping more, creating more, just really start to grind.
Right. All right. Okay, now into interaction. Only 5 cards. I look at a lot of deck building sites. They say 10 pieces of interaction. Some people say you need 17. This deck clearly just gets out and attacks fast and is more worried about offense than defense. Darksteel Forge we've already met.
Yeah, we touched on that just before. Obviously, that's a key component to this deck.
And next one I found incongruous in this deck actually was, well, I said incongruous and it's in congregate. Congregate. Why?
As I said, life is a resource for me, and look, there might be some times where I've been raped of my mere. Can I say rape?
Yeah, you can say rape.
Oh, cheers.
I think
My mere might have been
we'll find
raped.
out.
So look, but other players might have a larger creature presence on the table, and that's clearly just to buy me some life. To be able to buy me time to continue to do what I'm trying to do. Alabu's my one probably card where I can really start to target creatures. I can now scry as well as just card draw, but you know I can really start to target a player if they're down on life and just shoot them out of the game. And a couple of board wipes, you know, in my back pocket in case it's required. So
Never used them though, have you?
I don't think I have. I don't think I've had to
either.
yet. No. So thankfully, but you know,
Yeah, and both of them I noticed are quite particular, aren't they?
yeah, just artifacts. You know,
Yeah,
I've
correct.
got a couple of
Just
non-artifact cards in
Kills
here that
anything that's not an artifact.
correct.
Yeah, that's nice. So that's also a game winner too. You can always cast that, destroy a load of flesh and blood creatures, and charge in and
Correct.
use them as evasion.
Then overrun with me.
Yeah. All right. So after that, we are now going to get into some token creation. So we've got about 9 token creators here. I'm going to leave you to discuss them. The two I do like are Reflections of Lit Jara and the Mask of Progress.
March of Progress. Yeah.
Apologies.
Look, the reflections, obviously, another one. Once again, if you've got a splash of blue in anything you're playing that's tribal, this has got to go
Absolutely.
in there. It's such a thick Mir presence in here that to not have that in there, it's just silly. I'm just creating more Mir, along with the Propagator and the Mir Smith. Just the ability to get more Mir out. Like I do have a few things that we've seen already that to sacrifice to go search for things. So I like to have just more Mir in general, and you know I can do a lot of sacrificial stuff. The besieged, mirrored and besieged, you know, goes without saying. Cast an artifact, create a Mir, and the Mir Sire is just one of those better Mirs that you know. Even once he's done his job, he for the greater good of the team, he pops another one out there. And for the efficient construction, once again, I know that people flying over to try and attack me is my weakness. So to get more just sacrificial chump blockers up in the air to help stop that, or if the time comes to start sacrificing them off as well. So yeah.
And March of Progress.
March of Progress. Look, you know, like I might come across a mere battle sphere or something else sexy in the deck that I could change everything into at a time. That's the idea behind that. I must admit, I've never actually had that card come up since I've put it in to be able to use it that way. But that's the theory behind it. So yeah.
And finally, we've got a bit of a combo here: Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek. Give us a lowdown. What's happening there?
Look, it's not an infinite combo, but it is a combo. They just both need to be on the table at the same time, and then obviously I would sacrifice the sword to the foundry. The sword goes into my graveyard. I then create a Thopter artifact creature. It's 1/1, and so as soon as that comes out onto the table, I get to pull the sword back out and attach it to it. I gain the 1 life in the process, and then it's just a matter of how much mana I've got available or I'm willing to spend at the time, at whatever time, to be able to just once again fuel a little bit of life and get those chump blockers up in the air, or you know, sacrificial targets for things later on as well. So yeah, look, that is a little combo that up until now you actually hadn't picked up. So I'm sort of glad that one snuck under the radar.
Yeah.
Now, so.
Well, it's a nice way to just get rid of some spare mana, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
You got to.
If it's sitting there, let's use it, especially at the end of you know, the person's turn before my turn. I'll definitely fuel up and do whatever I can with the mana to best suit me.
All right, cool. So Urtet is not the only way you buff. I notice you've got quite a few creatures that buff. So let's have a chat about those.
Sure, let's have a look.
So what have we got going on here? These are all, a couple of them are just standards. Give +1/+1s, the Mir Galvanator, which can also untap all your creatures, I see.
Yeah, that's also another good one to be able to help bolster the Urtet ability to get a couple of cracks with that if I've got you know, the creatures out there that can produce the mana required for him.
Yeah.
So the Mir Matrix, purely just a little buff for the mirror, but unspent mana, depending on what I've got available to use it for, I'll crank out some more mirrors.
Yeah.
The mirror entity is a mirror itself by the fact that it's a changeling, and dependent on how many times I've managed to Wooburg with Urtet, it might be more beneficial just to give my mirror a base power and toughness bigger than what they already have. That will get them up to give me a commanding position to attack with, than had I left them as they are.
I like your 2 Urzes. They're awesome.
The 2 Urzes, the Lord High Artificer is quite nice actually, to be able to produce extra blue mana in times where it's needed, and the ability to shuffle and put something on top. I might randomly get my Mere Turbine or something out, something that I'm looking for. It, who knows? So yeah, I quite like him. Gives me a token that gets big as well. So and the Prince of Krug just allows me to create tokens of not necessarily creatures, but other things that I can do some funky stuff with, to be able to double them up. Yeah, and the Eldrazi Monument.
Once again, mere battle spheres that we're talking about?
Yeah, it could be. Who knows? Maybe another mere Galvanizer to untap, and let's just keep Wooburging on Urtet as much as we can. The Monument. Hopefully, I've either got a heap of chump Thopters or mere that I can sacrifice to that, so that can continue to hang around. And once again, it's another nice secondary option to the indestructible ability for the mere. So.
Right. Now, let's get into what I call them support cards. Just cards that support your deck. So the first one I want to talk about, Vexing Puzzle Blocks. Just an emergency alternate win con.
I think I put that in a deck or something, in a random pack or something, and I saw it and I went, you know what? It adds 1 mana of any color, and then I get to roll a d20. If it's out there long enough, I can, remove 100 of them, and then I do have a search, another ability to search for something that I might need at that time, or I'm looking for to help enhance the way the deck's playing. So that's purely all that's in there for, something different.
The next 4 quite vanilla, although I don't mind the Mere Enforcer. I think that works well in this deck. There's only something like 42 or 47 Mere. Were we just running out of Mere by this stage?
A little bit, yeah. Like I do have other Mere, but for 4/4, he's just a larger base creature to start with that potentially I can cast for nothing, depending on when he comes up, and just whack him down. The Omega Mere, I think, is ahead of the Alpha Mere, which might be the 2 power, 1 toughness one. I'd rather have a better toughness than power in this. The Hover Mere flies, why wouldn't I? And the Universal Ultimatum is a mirror as well, basically due to the changeling effect of it. So yeah, cheaper than some of the other mirrors by I could put a mirror in there that costs 2, but this is effectively just a mirror as well. So
yeah. So the next 4, I do like these, and I think they're all going to be awesome in this deck. Specifically, getting Shimmer Mirror and Unwinding Clock together. That would just give you so much flexibility at any stage.
The Unwinding Clock, if I can get that out early, or as soon as I can get that out, I like to get that out, obviously, to be able to untap everything during other players' upkeep, so I can continue the Wooburg process. Fuel that engine as we've been talking about for Urtet. So yeah, the Unwinding Clock is definitely key. The Nexus is just in there to be able to punch out more Mere. We've already gone through the different things that work with Mere. It's all about Mere.
Can I just wind back to the Unwinding Clock?
Yeah.
Some of your lands are artifact lands too, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So as I said, I've got the 5 color artifact lands in there to be able to untap them as well, and not just have to rely on Mere that produce colors. Yeah. That also helps most definitely. The Sculpting Steel, I'll use that for whatever I want a second of. Whatever works. Doesn't necessarily have to be my artifact. Someone might have another artifact or something that I can copy of yours, JP, and I'm sure you'd love getting pumped by something I make a copy of your own.
Oh yeah, so, I'd really appreciate that. Yeah. Did I sound like I did?
You generally do.
Yeah. And of course, Shimmer Mere, jumping them out at any stage.
Correct, yep.
Getting all you guys ready to attack. Yeah.
Correct.
Before. All right, let's just go straight into Recursion. 1 creature, an artifact, and a couple of lands. The Mere Retriever, when it's put into a graveyard, return another artifact?
Yeah, so look, multi-uses for that. It could be a mirror that, someone realizes, oh, we'll get rid of that mirror that produces black because he needs that black for his
Yeah.
Wooburg or something. So
I think I did that to you once.
potentially.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You could always sack him too. You got these sack outlets.
correct. I do have sack outlets.
Yeah. Mere Reservoir. Quite like that. Adds mana to your mana pool.
Yeah, look, and the big one is that can return a mirror card from my graveyard to my hand. So there's been times where I'm just you're doing your best to kill off that one thing that's stopping me, and I'm still able to get it back. So yeah, quite love that card. That's a great card, that one.
Plus, of course, Academy Ruins and Buried Ruin finishing off your recursion package.
Yeah, just to bring a couple of things back. So one shot with the ruin, but the with the buried ruin. But the Academy Ruins is very nice. Yeah, that slots in beautifully. So
Right.
Talarian Academy would be another great land if it was not banned. That obviously I would have in here. So
Yes. Even you can't afford one of them.
I've got two, thanks, mate.
Oh, well, yeah, you got them back in the 90s when they were worth a buck. All right. Would you like some cheese?
I love my cheeks, mate. Bring it on.
All right, time for some cheese. And do we have a very mixed selection of cheese today? First one is actually damn fine. Forsaken Monument. Colourless creatures get buff. Whenever you tap a permanent, you add extra. You gain life. That's a great card.
Yeah, look, if there was some way of creating more of them that are non-legendary, I'm sure there is. I just haven't invested proper time into it. But no, look, that it's great. That's more so for the mana as well because I am using a bit of mana for certain things throughout as I go. So having that extra colorless mana obviously helps, and the little buff of 2+2+2 is definitely nice, and the life as well. Yeah, look.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So
now, the smelliest bit of cheese here, I think, the Lux Artillery.
Well, I'm already pissing people off, so why not annoy them a little bit more and do some damage to them? That's a nice one as well. That sunburst ability. What more?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. Good cheese.
Yeah. And who we got next?
Blaster, the combat danger.
Yes.
This is one this is probably the newest card that I've put in there, and I haven't actually had the opportunity to use it. But the fact that it can give that modular ability to the creatures, I quite like that. And if you flip him over, I could potentially have him out. And I've had to recast Urtet again or something, and I can get him straight in, give him haste, and I can just use him straight away. So I like the ability for Blaster, and I'm keen to see how it goes. But yeah, that is one card that I haven't actually seen work as of yet. So
yeah, carry on. What's next?
The Time Sieve.
Right.
Obviously, we've seen I can create or potentially create lots of Thopters. I'm looking to sacrifice things and just keep taking extra turns. I'm winding clock. Let's take a couple extra turns in the next turn as well. Yeah. That's just for cheesy extra time, extra turn advantage. So the Cybermen Squadron. I love this. When this came out, I thought, what's better than
put you onto that one?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did actually. You did. So
that's
thanks, JP.
So at the moment.
It could be $50. I would have bought it and put it in this deck, I think. So instead of just looking at trying to iron you out and leaving the other guys there, I can look at what I want to send at you, and then it just spreads the love across the other people. And I can maybe hold a few things back, even if I don't need to send everything. That myriad ability on all my mirror or Thopters or whatever is fantastic.
So you'd still be able to tap Urtet once you've created the tokens into combat?
Well, if there's anything left, I mean, when does it say? It says they exile them at the end of combat. So
you could still do it though, just to buff them. As an emergency, I reckon.
Potentially, I guess.
You're doing all of them anyway.
Yeah.
Really, man. Go on, carry on.
The mechanized production, that's a great one. Let's go to the mere battle sphere then. Actually,
let's just go straight to it. Yeah, come on.
This guy's won me more games with Mir than I care to know. This thing I love. To be able to do that damage to the defending player, to create multiple of these, to create more Mir. If I can get the mechanized production on the Mir battle sphere, then I'm very happy that'd be gold. I might be able to create more.
Of course, mechanized production also has a very cheesy win con, doesn't it? You can actually
win if you create. I haven't won that way before, but the potential's there. So whilst it's in the cheese pile, let's talk about a cheesy win. That'd be great.
Yep.
Why not? And to Zera, any artifact deck worth its weight would have one of these in it, if it's able to. Yeah, you know, the affinity for artifacts, just that first ability to the +2 to be able to deal the damage to each opponent equal to the number of artifacts I control. I think if he comes out, I'm at least killing someone on the spot if he's not taken out. And you know, depending on where we're at with the game, that might just win me the game and kill everyone straight out. I don't really have to worry too much about his second ability, and you know, maybe if it gets to it, that -8, it's never gotten to it before. Yeah, that's gold. So,
That's the advantage of Planeswalkers, isn't it? They're out and you're activating them straight away. You're not waiting till next turn to attack.
Unless someone interferes with it before it gets there and goes, no, he can't.
Yeah.
He can't be allowed to activate. So yeah, most definitely.
Generally, it's only counter spells. There's not a hell of a lot of destroy Planeswalker instants around.
No, not really, unless you've got something that can remove counters off of, you know, there's a couple of things in black, I think, off the top of my head. I can't think what they are, but I know they're out there, you know, remove the counters. Yeah.
Cool. And anything else to add? Anything you got else in the lands that you want to mention?
No, I think we covered the lands. You know, look, I like to try and have about minimum of 35 lands in a deck, up to 40 depending on what I'm doing. And you know, I've got one green one that I think I run only 32, maybe 33, but I've got a lot more fetch abilities and it is green. So no, look, artifacts are fun. There's artifacts. A fun one I used to run 4 of in an old deck. Has a cumulative upkeep and it changed, and whenever you tap a plains, it produces green mana, and tap a forest, it produces blue mana, and just stuff with that messes with other people, what they've created. That sort of stuff that artifacts can do is awesome, because I'm just relying on colorless artifact the majority of the time. There's heaps of good artifacts out there. I'd like to maybe create something more artifact based again, but at this stage it's just the Urtet doing it for me at the moment. So yeah, really enjoyed playing it. Pulled it out a while back, and I think that's why you said give me that. I'll go for it. This would be my pleasure. So
cool.
And it has been, man. Thank you very much. So
thank you. Welcome back. So that was Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch. Chad's deck. Played against it plenty of times. For me, it is the biggest threat on the table every time. That said, Matt and Andy don't make great decks either, but it's certainly not that good. Fun to play, very interactive for Chad at least. He's constantly doing things, not so much for me. All I do is lower my life total, really. Next time, I'm going to do Rocco's Street Chefs. This is what I'm working on at the moment. Food tokens, bit of cheese. I'll turn those tokens into creatures for one of the cards. But mainly it's about also life gain. I've got the Lathiel, the Bounteous Dawn, and that creature, the 4 and 2 white. Whenever you gain life, add that many tokens. Can't remember his name right now. Plus, of course, all the usual stuff here, token support you're going to have. Chad, anything to finish off with?
Oh, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. For you to ask to want to deck tech that was, it's been my
awesome.
pleasure. It's, as you said, it is for me good fun to play. I know I fiddle around, have a lot of interaction, but it's a very nice deck for me to play, and one that's close to my heart with my love of the Mir. You know, maybe I can come on and deck tech a dragon deck or something.
That card you got sitting there.
I do love my Miram. He's quite
Sentinel
nice.
Worm, yeah.
Anyhow,
remember at the start of the video where I said he always leads with his chin? Yeah. He always has the horrible commanders.
JP's been nice enough to be one of the only blokes to kill me multiple times with commander damage. So I have set out about making a deck just to kill him in return with commander damage. Yet to clear a bit of the red off the ledger for that one, but thanks very much, mate. I love what you're doing here.
No problem.
And,
my pleasure.
Playing again and seeing this out.
We'll see you next time. Cheers. Good night.